Hello, good evening, welcome to our front. Tonight, the governing New Patriotic Party, in the very person of the national organizer of the party, has officially written and submitted a petition to the police, part of which says he wants the NDC's presumptive candidate and former president of the Republic of Ireland, John Dramani Mahama, hauled in for contempt, specifically of the democracy of this country and treasonable conduct that's not very much conducive with the environment that we have put for ourselves. Specifically, he says Section 180 and 208 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act deals with the issues he's raising. He's not only asking the former president to be arrested by the police or dealt with by the police, he's asking the national chairman of the opposition NDC to equally be subjected to a similar process. Tonight, we'll break this down and get to appreciate what it means and what the real understanding of some of these things are, and also get to understand how we can move beyond the current heightening political tension in the country into one that is resolved into an issue-based engagement ahead of election 2024. Can we remove all the other elements of this electioneering process and deal with only the main issues of how to put food on the table and also deal with the current economic crisis? Can we go to consistently have the MPP and the NDC, one saying things and also responding to things that are quite inappropriate? But I'm starting from Parliament because that's where a very relevant member of Parliament is. He's joining me from his constituencies though. A man who is ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. The Honorable James Agaga, you are welcome to our front. If you can hear me, sir, you're welcome to our front. I hope you are doing well this evening.
Thank you very much, Raymond.
I mean, as was expected, the response of the NPP to the NDC officially asking the police to haul in Brian Achampon is to say that the police have a bigger job to do. Indeed, in the words of Raymond Acquah in that petition, the former president John Dramani Mahama and also the national chairman of your party equally have questions to answer when it comes to how their conduct might not be in the interest of this state. Immediate reaction from you, is a much ado about nothing, or this is a very serious matter?
Well, Raymond, I think that this latest development amounts to a game of equalization. And equalization, I mean, in a matter like this, a very serious matter such as the statement Honorable Brian Achampon made at Brian doesn't help to reduce the political tension moving into election 2024. But be that as it may, I have the inclination that it is time we, as a country, started looking at ways of escalating the rising tension, I mean, moving into election 2024. But having said that, it's important that we isolate the issues and deal with them one by one. Look, somebody goes out there and says, we wouldn't hand over power to the opposition party should it win the 2024 election. Then, when calls are made for the police to get to the bottom of such a threat, the party in government comes out to say, oh, but listen, previously the former president said boot for boot. So what is boot for boot? In what context was the boot for boot statement made? It was simply that, look, if you step on my toes, I'm going to step on your toes. There is some moral deduction there. I mean, even if you go to the Bible, you have the old book where it is stated that a tooth for a tooth. You step on my toes, I step on your toes. You slap me, I slap you. So if you don't slap me, I don't slap you. And that is a reasonable statement to make. But that statement was made in a certain context. Coming out of election 2020, people were killed. As we speak, 8 Ghanaians died. We have not been able to unravel the circumstances that led to the deaths of those 8 Ghanaians. No single soul has brought justice for those murders. And so the president at the time, the former president said, next time, he wouldn't sit down and allow you to kill people like the way you did. If you attempt to kill people, of course, self-defense is and I mean, if you like, an inalienable right. It's inherent in every human being. So, you see, Raymond, the attempt to equalize and to draw parallels between what my good friend said at Impriato and what President Mahama said, I mean, the good for good comment. I don't see how similar these two are. But, like I said, all these things are leading to the rising political tensions in our country. We don't need that as a country that has experimented with change in government. I mean, the NCP lost power, the NCP won. In 2000, the NCP handed over power peacefully to the NCP. We don't need somebody to come and tell us that. We will not hand over power. We will stay in power at all costs. That statement is condemnable, and I thought that as a people, we were going to condemn that statement with one voice, actually unison, to deter people who think that, look, we can compromise our democratic gains. Unfortunately, the NPP has waded into the debate, and I have taken references to what the former president said and what Stephen Kedia, our chairman, also said, and so on and so forth. But you see, we have a very professional police service. I expect that the police would be able to distill between what is justifiable, I mean, the circumstances, and an attempt to equalize and muddy the waters and make it difficult for them to do their work.
Give me a second. I just need to bring in the man who actually sent the petition to the police, and that's Henry Nana Boachi, who is the national organizer of the governing MPP. The understanding, and if you would listen to the ranking on the Defense and Interior Committee, he believes that this is just a vain attempt to engage in equalization, and that the police is in a better position to distinguish fact from fiction here. Yes, Nanabi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Well, I think I'm having a bad line with the national organizer, so I sure should be able to get that. But the understanding many in this country have is that, listen, we have a serious economic crisis on our hands. The leading political parties cannot be very busy, very, very busy, not thinking about how to get us out of the current doldrum, but rather spending quality time engaging in this kind of accusation and counter-accusation. Is that a fair assessment, especially when you sit on the Defense and Interior Committee?
Raymond, yes, we have some serious economic challenges to grapple with, and I have in the past made it very clear that the economic meltdown in itself could result in serious security challenges for our country. We've gone to the IMF. We're hoping that we come out with a deal very soon to at least alleviate the suffering of Ghanaians inflicted on us by the MPP government. But that notwithstanding, if there are other very serious infractions by way of what? Wrongful speech, statements that can mar the peace and security of our country, threatening statements such as we wouldn't hand over political power, and so on, those incidences must also be dealt with. You cannot say because we are faced with economic challenges, we would close our eyes to other equally serious attempted breaches of the peace and security of our country. It is in that vein that calls have been made for Mr. Brian Achampong to tone down and not make statements that can inflame passions and throw us off gear. Because if you marry that with the prevailing economic crisis that we are currently faced with, then clearly you'll be adding fuel to a very fluid situation which could escalate very rapidly and create problems for all of us.
If I ask you as a former Deputy Interior Minister, regardless of which government you served in, now, if I ask you as ranking member or a member of that committee in charge of Interior and Defense, to give me an impartial assessment of what these two accusations before the police are, and also as a lawyer, what would be your proper, impartial, untainted, non-political assessment?
Look, Raymond, first of all, I've read Nana Boachi's complaint, and he is talking about the act that can result in conduct conducive to breaches of the peace. But then you ask, what are the facts? And I alluded to the facts in my earlier submission that the former president is alleged to have made a statement, and then he spoke about food for food. Then I asked, what does it mean to say food for food in our everyday Ghanaian parlance? Food for food. If you slap me, I slap you. A tooth for a tooth. So if you don't slap me, I don't slap you. You can draw moral lesson from that. Somebody can say, if you slap me, I'll give you the second cheek and you slap. Another person will say, if you slap me, I slap you in self-defense.
But is that not the same justification that the MPP is giving to what Brian Champon said? In fact, they have explained that it was misconstrued. To a very large extent, what the man meant was that we will fix the problems. It's only when, as a state, we get the reaction from people who don't want peace, that's when we will react. How different is it from the other statements we're talking about?
The point I'm making is that, look, the right to self-defense avails human beings. The right to defend yourself when you are attacked. It's even enshrined in our Constitution. It's one of the defenses to even a charge of murder. When we charge somebody with murder, and the person can establish that he acted in self-defense, that is to be considered. And so the point I'm making is that President Mahama didn't say, go out there and slap people. He said, food for food. So if you, in an election situation, decide to unleash violence, we will defend ourselves. Food for food. So don't even start it. Let the elections, the conduct of it be peaceful. And there wouldn't be the need for me to respond in equal measure. How is such a statement reckless or conducive to the breach of the peace? So if I look at the complaint in its entirety, I can draw the conclusion, I mean, as a lawyer, that it's a frivolous complaint. A very frivolous complaint, which is only designed to equalize. And that is why I'm saying that, look, it is time we sat down, the two political parties, maybe with the intervention of the Peace Council, to call for a reduction in the rising political tension in our country. It doesn't bode well for the security and peace of our country at all. And that is why I think that my good friend Raymond Acquah must tone down and not make threatening statements like we wouldn't hand over. Look, the 1992 Constitution has been enduring, and we all take credit for it. Why do we want to resort to conduct?
The Parliament is on Parliament's actually on recess as we speak. I mean, is this something that your committee can deal with? Is this something that you are interested in? As a committee of Parliament in charge of security or defense and interior, this really will fall within your terrain, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And that is why, Raymond, I am very happy that you've given me this platform to speak out, you know. And so, quite clearly, Peace Council, we would definitely extend an invitation to them. I know they are not happy with the rising tension, and even without anybody's prompting, they would want to begin some mediation efforts to try to reduce the tension in our country, the political tension. I know both political parties are at the moment engaged with primaries. the NDC presidential candidates are on the run, the MPs, aspiring parliamentary candidates of the NDC are in the field, and so on. And so what that means is that we are approaching the electioneering campaign. This is the time the peace council, civil society groups who are interested in ensuring that we emerge from the election as a peaceful country to begin to get proactive, make the necessary intervention so that we don't resort to conduct that can jeopardize our peace and security.
Except that you sit on the same committee, and I understand that Mr. Champon is actually part of your Defense and Interior Committee. Really, at the committee level, you want to speak to him?
Of course. Why not? So, if we get to sit at the committee, we're going to admonish ourselves. No question about that. We're going to advise ourselves and say, listen, let's go down. Sometimes, when we mount the political stage, you say certain things, unintentionally. And if that was the case, I expect that by now my brother and good friend, Honorable Brian Achampong, would have rendered an unqualified apology to the good people of this country. That would have helped to reduce the political tension that emanates directly from the state, which has brought us that far.
Now, the other question, though, in all of this is, you are talking about the role of the Peace Council and also the role that you in Parliament, your committee can deal with this on. The general question people are asking is that, at what point can we demand of our politicians that you do something that's more serious with your time rather than creating tension in the country? Shouldn't we advance to the level where some of these things never come out at all?
Well, yes. As members of Parliament, I think the Speaker has, time without number, made it very clear that we need to have a certain code of conduct. And I think that the code of conduct should even, have something to do with ministers of state. So at the level of the executive, they should also have a certain code of conduct for ministers of state. That way, I think that politicians should be guided, especially when it comes to statements you make in public. I mean, you'll be giving guidance, and that can go a long way to help reduce the tension. Because I admit that sometimes when you're on the political platform, you get possessed and say things that ordinarily you wouldn't want to say. But if you know there is a certain code of conduct that you must be guided with, I'm sure certain utterances wouldn't be made on a political platform that can create problems for all of us.
Now, the other question, though, is that already 2 reports have been made to the police. What is your expectation of the police as we speak? Are we not putting them in a tight corner?
Well, that is where professionalism would count. The police should be able to distinguish what is frivolous from a complaint that has basis, that has all the foundations in law and can properly be investigated.
So you expect that it will be investigated?
Absolutely. Look, these things must not be taken lightly. Raymond, we have one country, Ghana. If you consider the fact that elections resulted in civil war in our next door neighbor, the Cote d'Ivoire, you don't want to take things for granted. And that is why I thought that by now, my good friend would have said something. I mean, if what he did at prior to was a slip of tongue, he should come out and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean this. But the definite silence is not helping matters.
So now, the other question, though, is about now invitations. Do you expect that the gentlemen who have been reported to the police would receive invitations from the police?
Well, I don't want to preempt anything. I expect the police to be very professional. They would look at the 2 complaints, and if they think that there is merit in complaints before them, they will take appropriate action. But I do not want to preempt anything. Like I said before, the police have the competence to distinguish frivolous complaints from genuine complaints and act accordingly.
Do you believe that the police will do an independent work on this one?
They are expected to be independent in these circumstances because the security of our country is at stake here.
Now, well, I guess you're a very busy person on the third, already trying to get your party to renominate you for your constituency for an election that's pretty upcoming in the next few days. Will we need a charter of a sort? Because mostly before elections, we make you politicians sign peace accords. Is that also required in this election, mindful of where we are started from?
Well, I think we've experimented with those signing of accords of that nature in the past, and we may have been lucky. Maybe the accord contributed to the sustenance of our peace and security after every electioneering cycle. And so, why not? Maybe we can repeat same, but with open heart and mind. Open heart and mind. And maybe that would be the trick for all of us. Why not?
You said there was a need to bring tensions down and reduce the political tension in the country. Who should take the first step? Would it be the president? Would it be a minister of state? Or it should actually be an independent body trying to make sure?
I expected that in the wake of Honorable Achampong's statement, the president who is commander-in-chief would have made an intervention. Come and assure the people of this country that maybe Honorable Achampong was on his own frolic. Because on the 7th of January 2005, it would be President Akufo-Addo handing over power to the incoming President Mahama, and not Honorable Brian Achampong. And so, as Commander-in-Chief, I'm saying that, look, my minister may have made this statement, but I can assure the country that, look, come what may, I am going to hand over power peacefully to whoever is victorious in the election. Such a simple statement could contribute to calming down the nerves and the unnecessary tensions that has engulfed the nation in the past few days. But unfortunately, Mr. President is also quiet. It doesn't matter. Civil society groups can continue to mount pressure, and I'm sure with certain pressure, Mr. President would probably yield and issue a statement to assure the good people of this country that, look, President Mahama handed over power peacefully when he lost to the incoming president at the time, and Akufo-Addo. And so he would do the same if his party loses the 2024 election. Such a statement would be very, very helpful in these trying moments, Raymond.
I am grateful to you, sir, for your time this evening. The Honorable James Agaga is ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. That committee actually oversees matters of defense and interior. And this conversation we are having in this country is because after the NDC had officially reported the MP for Abetifi and also the Minister for Agriculture for some comments he made during the Easter break on a platform in Kwewu, where he actually mounted the platform and talked about other things, including not handing over and making sure that the party continues in office. And the other things that he said that later on the MPP officially identified with. They adopted that and said they identify 100% and back his claims. Henry Nana Boakye made that particular point. Subsequently, the NDC went to the police with a petition that his comments, they are problematic, so they ought to be reviewed by the police. An invitation was also extended to other civil society groups to speak up on this matter. Some did, and in the course of this conversation, we'll be bringing in security analysts to put this particular issue into proper context is the back and forth and accusation and counter accusations quite healthy for the country? Now, I understand that the man who filed the petition earlier today, Raymond Acquah, now joins us on the phone. Honorable National Organizer, it is the view of a lawyer and the ranking member on the Interior and Defense Committee of Parliament that this is a frivolous claim.
I think that I hold a contrary view. Then I think the NDC's claim is rather much more frivolous. We have sent a petition to the police BID for the arrest, investigation, and prosecution of Mr. John Dramani Mahama and Mr. Shirley Katia for reasonable conduct, for offensive conduct conducive to the breaches of the peace, contrary to Section 180 and Section 207 of the Criminal Offences Act 29. And if you consider some of these utterances or commentaries made by these personalities, we find it quite unfortunate. I mean, if you have former President Mahama mounting several platforms saying that the NDC was born out of a revolution, that they have violent tendencies, they can unleash violence more than any other person, and when it comes to unleashing violence, they are on a march. I mean, it's quite a serious statement, and we must be worried. And I'm surprised that the Honorable MP does not find anything wrong with this.
He thinks it's a veiled attempt at what they call it, equalization. And you're just doing this because of what they did to Brian the Champon.
No, I don't think so. I mean, every election is linked. So, and especially after those comments, Mr. Mahama is again had on several platforms saying that the election in 2024 is going to be do or die, good for good. And don't forget that he said this already. And don't forget that this young chap in Swami had also referenced his leaders, that he drew some inspiration from them when he said that they were going to kill for power. If you consider what Mr. Shirley Katia said, that they were going to do everything possible to make sure they win 2024, including sacrificing their life. I mean, since when did elections in Ghana constitute sacrificing one's life? These are serious statements, and these are statements that can inspire some scrupulous persons to perpetuate or visit mayhem or to cause violence. So we are of the view that these statements put together clearly have tendency to disturb the peace and the democratic stability we have. That is why we are pursuing the CID. I've heard the NDC say that they sent their petition yesterday, and for that matter, why should we send ours? And I find it very infantile, very, very infantile. Why? So when they petitioned the police CID, is it the case that they wanted to lock up the police CID and take the keys home so that nobody goes there? It's very unfortunate. Look, if you have an issue, you presented it, and it is not as if we went there empty-handed. We went there with a case. We went there citing these cases, and these are issues you can find on any platform. So, now,
for the avoidance of doubt, yes. Section 180 treating this way says a person who commits high treason is liable to suffer death. And it says, for the purpose of Section Sub 1, high treason has the meaning assigned to it by Clause 3 of the Constitution. And to be quite clear on this one, it says here, any person who by himself or in concert with others, by any violent or other unlawful means, suspends or overthrows or abrogates this Constitution or any part of it, or attempt to do so, or aids and abets in any manner referred to in paragraph A, commits the offense of high treason, and shall upon conviction be sentenced to suffer death. Some say, is it not an extreme, what they call a reference you are making here? The reference to treason.
No, I don't think so. Sometimes you think that a spark is nothing, but when a spark degenerate into some heavy flame, some burning flame. And that is where you know that it started from a certain spark. So, yes, you may consider that these are just words. You don't know how these words can psychologically push somebody to undertake some of these actions. So, that is what you will say. You consider it as a spark, but don't forget, before you get flame, it will start from a spark. So we don't think so at all. We think that those words are not in good taste. Those words have the propensity to cause chaos and to cause mayhem in the country.
Now, the alternative view is that, listen, politicians are actually elevating the political temperature in the country. You need to dial it down a little bit. How do we do this? How do we get those of you in the forefront of politics reducing the temperature in the country?
Oh, I don't think that the temperature is that high. I mean, once again, I mean, you may have several views, but then I think that this advice should rather go to the former president. He's again moving, and then he is charging his supporters as well. So it appears that all those words that he said in the past, and recently he was even asked, he said that all the things that he said, he meant them, and he's not going to back down on them, recently. So if you put all of these words that he said in the past together, and sometimes it's mind-boggling, because he's been former president before. So it's amazing how he can still defend some of these things that he said in the past. But yes, he's moving around again because he intends to be the flag bearer of the NDC. And it appears that it's part of his campaign message to negatively and psychologically boost his supporters, you know, and prepare their minds for some of these unfortunate instances that we intend to prevent. So, yes, I know a lot of war-beating Ghanaians will call for calm, will call for peace and tranquility. I'm aware. But I think that we should not be afraid to name and shame. People have made reference to Honorable Brian Acquah. Honorable Brian Acquah never said that he was going to kill for power. Honorable Brian Acquah never said that the NPP is a violent political party, and when it comes to violence and unleashing of violence, we are second to none. He never said that. Honorable Brian never said that we are going to sacrifice even our own lives for victory 2024. He never said that. He never said that whether NPP, if we win or we lose, we are not going to hand power over. He said, and that was very positive. He said that we are not going to hand, and then he had already laid the foundation that if the NDC was projecting itself for political victory because of the economic downturn that we have, it is not going to come on because now we have some glimpse of economic turnaround and things are beginning to shape up. So we are very optimistic that things are going to be okay. And for that matter, we are not going to hand power over to them because we are not going to lose.
The Peace Council has said they are willing to intervene and invite you, the political parties, to the table. Have they already reached out to the NPP?
Oh, not at all. But then we've had some meetings with them. I mean, I can recall one where they called all political party chairpersons and general secretaries and national organizers. And I was privileged to have been part of that meeting with my general secretary and my national chairman. And that was almost about 2 months ago or so. We are prepared for any discourse. We are prepared for any action. We are prepared for any plan that will seek to bring about peace and calmness in the country. We are a big stakeholder of this.
Because
let me remind everyone, let me assure everybody that the New Patriotic Party is committed to free, fair, transparent elections any day, any time. And we are very hopeful that we are going to win.
Okay. The Honorable James Agaga believes that the president should step in and actually calm waters, make the assurance that the MPP is still committed to free, fair.
The former president should also step in. I mean, when he keeps moving around, making some of these incendiary statements, it's quite unfortunate. So he should also step in. He should change his tone.
Do you disagree with the call on the president?
On the call of the president?
Yes, to step in.
To step in?
Yes, to actually calm waters.
The president has always exhibited that characteristics of a leader who intends to keep.
No, but I get the point. I'm saying that do you disagree with the call on him to now come in and assure the people that, yes, so far as I'm concerned, there will be, if the party loses the election, will hand over?
The party loses the election, will hand over?
Yes.
He's not going to be on the
No, I'm not saying so, but he's the one who's going to hand over anyway. I'm saying that the assurance, that's what James Agaga is asking for, that it will calm people if the assurance is coming from the president. Do you support that call?
I think that the president has even said that it's going to be his wish that he will hand over the baton to the New Patriotic Party. But
okay,
that is his wish. Right? So that is why I'm saying that I think that Mr. Agaga is trying to blow issues out of proportion. He should rather look into his own house. And he should rather be advising the former president, John Dramani Mahama, in buying hold of his utterances. That is what he should be doing.
I am grateful to you for your time this evening. Raymond Acquah is the national organizer of the governing NPP. Let me now bring in some people of competence outside partisan political positions. Dr. Ishmael Norman joins me now. He's a reputable security analyst who has background in law too. Doc, you're welcome to UPfront.
Thank you very much, Raymond.
I hope you are doing well this evening.
Yes, given the conditions under which we live.
We pulled you out of Easter on Monday to have a comment on this matter because it had just happened a couple of days ago. And at the time, the NPP had not officially backed the issue. Subsequently, the NPP officially supports Brian Achampong. He's been reported to the police too. Now today, the NPP also reported the former President John Dramani Mahama and the national chairman of the NDC to the police. In fact, in the case of the former president, they are alleging that his conduct may even rise to a level of high treason. The two of them put together ought to be dealt with by law. Are we taking this too far, or is much ado about nothing?
It reminds me of the fight between Mohammed A. and Foreman in Zaire, rumble in the jungle. That's basically what's going on. Each of the political parties is trying to make the base feel that they are it and that they are the correct party to support. So it's just much ado about nothing, because you rightly quoted Article 3 of the Constitution. If you don't hand over power when you lose office, that is tantamount to basically abrogating the Constitution. And I don't think MPP, in its right mind, if they lose the election, would do that. Neither would NDC. You know, they will basically go home and lick their wounds. And the MPP will do the same thing. So I think Ghanaians have to be very angry with these two parties. They are creating fear and panic, and the leadership of these two parties have to heal to we the people, because the noise they are making, they are not discussing their programs. We don't know what they're going to do for Ghana. All we are hearing is bravado, talk that doesn't really build this country. Identity politics, which is what they are doing, MPP and NDC, it doesn't really help this country to move forward. Even if you're going to play identity politics, don't take the rest of the people of Ghana to ransom. So I don't think Ghanaians are going to sit idle and let it happen. If they want to fight, they should fight among themselves somewhere. but they should leave Ghana to Ghanaians because it belongs to all of us, not them.
There are those who are saying that the police is right now put in a very tough position. The expectation is that they'll be professional, but consistently, people have had difficulties with whether or not that institution itself has what it takes to deal with these matters and deal with it comprehensively. Do you think that the police can decipher on the face of it which one to pursue and which one not to pursue? And for example, haul in the people that they want to answer questions, or do they just put it somewhere and forget about it?
I'm sorry I had called you Raymond, sorry about that. But I blame the police hierarchy. The moment the IGP started to encroach upon the people's civil liberty, speech right, he put the entire police organization exactly where they are right now. If a pastor of a church cannot freely prophesy, then a politician cannot freely campaign. That's basically what is happening. So I blame the IGP for actually willfully transgressing and encroaching upon the people's liberty by saying they are creating fear and panic. What is more fear and panic than what is happening between these two political parties? And why is the IGP not acting? Because he has brought us to the precipice that speech has a limitation. I believe that in a democracy, people should be allowed, the spectrum of freedom of speech is wide. If you don't allow people to speak their minds, you end up with censoring people like this. What Mr. Raymond Acquah said, it is not a bad thing. He said we're not going to lose power, but if you create violence, it will be difficult for us to hand over power to you. Okay. And NDC is saying we will do everything possible, including death, to win power. Again, there is nothing wrong. There's just speech. When you begin to criminalize speech act, even if I have said something defamatory to you, you have the court to go to for redress. It's not the role of the IGP to determine unilaterally that that is causing fear and panic. We have to define the phrase fear and panic within the political lexicon of Ghana. Okay. It is not the role of the IGP to become the constitutional interpreter of what fear and panic is, because he has created a situation where politicians cannot even campaign anymore. What was wrong about what Mr. Acquah said? What was wrong about what ex-President Mahama said? Nothing. It's part of campaigning, and we understand it, we get it. There is no fear and panic. When I heard Mr. Acquah, I wasn't afraid. When I heard ex-President Mahama speak, I was not afraid. The fear and panic is an idea that has been created by Ghana Police, precisely Dr. Dampare. And he has to refrain from restricting the people's right to speak, because let the people say what they want to say, even if you don't want to hear it. Let them say it. And then you, as a police organization, as a military organization, as national security, you take steps that they will not translate that into actionable activity. So far, Mr. Acquah has not done anything to warrant the definition of high treason. President Mahama has not done anything to warrant the definition of high treason. Why are we joking with this country as if everybody likes this kind of joke? We don't.
No, I get your point. I'm trying to get the point clarified here, because you are of the opinion the handling of the police will be quite interesting. And I'll be asking myself, these are two political parties whichever decision you take as an independent institution of state or a state institution which is supposed to be independent, the expectation is that you act in that particular fold. To your mind, is the police expected to now say, I'm drawing the line here, no further speech of this kind will be tolerated, or you should just let this matter go?
I don't think Dr. Dampare has the capacity to tell MPP, the party that appointed him, anything like that. He won't say it.
Wow. But is that not problematic?
Because he has created a problem for himself. It's a moral dilemma that he's put himself in. If a pastor cannot prophesy, a politician cannot make any predictions about him winning and holding on to power, because it's the same thing, isn't it? So he has put himself in a hole.
And now, I'm asking this because the police is part of our state institutions, the security setup of this country. The expectation generally is that we would put these institutions on a pedestal and respect them because they are the ones who protect us. If we put them in such a tight corner, you say it's self-inflicted, but if we continuously put them in such a tight corner, will they lose the kind of legitimacy with which they do their operations? As you agree that they are in a tight corner we have now.
I believe that that will happen, but I don't think the political parties are going to lose legitimacy because they have the support, unilateral support of their own supporters. So that one is not going to go away, and that gives them the legitimacy. They are also properly registered political organization, equally represented in all the regions, so they have the legal legitimacy. This cannot be downrated by Ghana police.
Okay.
I think what is happening here is that the moral dilemma that has been created about the limitations on the people's right to free speech by Dr. Dampare, and that has to be resolved by either the Constitutional Court or the various councils, peace councils in the country, so that the political parties themselves will withdraw from fighting any further. Because how do you tell somebody on a campaign trail that he cannot advocate winning by whatever means possible? Then what is he doing on the campaign trail? Why can't Mr. Achampong say that we're going to win no matter what and we hold on to power? Why can't he say that? What is wrong with that? Nothing. Why can't Mr. Mahama say that this is do or die affair? My team, Accra House of Folk, when we're going to play Kotoko, we say worse things than this. We say worse things than this.
But context matters, right? Yes, Prof, but context matters. This is a man who has been fingered in the IRC West Commission's reports and asked to be reprimanded by the states, even though the very white paper did not necessarily agree with that. Somebody like that, who has been previously a security minister, his comments are not taken like any other person, like my very good self.
Evans, he is not in a capacity to control anything right now other than...
No, I get your point. Going forward, what should we do now to de-escalate tension, the rising tension in the system? Today, there are accusations. Tomorrow, there are counter-accusations being made left, right, center on this particular matter. A country that's struggling to get an IMF deal. What do we do now to de-escalate and make sure we don't get to the precipice with this matter?
I think all the leadership there, I'm talking about the higher levels of leadership in this country, including the president himself, as Dr. Acquah had actually suggested, Emmanuel Acquah, that the president should speak out. The Speaker of Parliament should cool the Parliament and all the people giving interviews to TV stations. I believe National Security Minister, this is the time we need to see him in his dark glasses talking to the people in a mysterious way. Let us see your faces. Peace Council has spoken. I'm sure, I am very sure, Chief Imam's office is already engaging people behind the scenes. I'm sure of that. I am sure other people are engaging the political parties to cool it down. Here we are, these are adult people. This is the kind of fight they are doing, displaying to the people of Ghana. More than 60% of them are below the age of 35. What kind of heritage do they want to leave behind? It's horrible what they are doing. If I were a politician today, I'll be ashamed of it. I truly will be. They have to stop the name calling, the insult. You will not win any race, political race, by insulting your opponent. I will not vote for any politician who insults another politician. Okay, so I believe that National Security Minister has to call these people together. Peace Council, Islamic Council, all the other councils, Speaker of Parliament, even the Chief Justice has to get in. Because this is the time leadership should show its face to stand up and be counted. But don't hide behind and say that, oh, it will cool down. It wouldn't cool down if we don't stop it. We have to stop it. And the population of Ghana has to come together and say, enough is enough. We're not going to take it anymore.
Now, is this just the beginning of things to come in the year 2024? Because we are preparing for elections. Primaries are just a couple of weeks away. Is this just the beginning of things to come? Is it an indication of how the election is going to be like next year? Or is it just a blip?
I believe that if we don't cool it down, it's going to get worse. And people will die. And that, I don't want to see it. We are seeing the signs of things to come. The big chiefs in Ghana, they have to put their foot out and speak. They have to stop these political shenanigans because it doesn't help anything. I want to see what MPP is going to do for Ghana if they win. I want to see what NDC is going to do for Ghana, how it's going to improve my life. Not the kind of fight they are having. It doesn't help anybody. And Ghanaians are discerning enough. They'll watch you quietly, but if you don't come out with the programs, they won't vote for you. Your previous achievement will not make you win. Other than that, no party will lose power. Your previous projects will not make you win. It is what you can do for Ghana that will make you win, not what you have already done for Ghana.
Now, maybe the final word I want from you is on the issue of the call. The ranking member in Parliament is asking the president to take the leading role. He wants him to assure the nation that, listen, forget about what everybody has said so far. We are going to have an election. Whoever wins will move on with our lives. Is that really something you expect the president to do too?
It would be good for the president to cool the atmosphere a little bit, because IMF is also watching. Investors are watching. What we are doing is just terrible. If the political parties that control the powers in this country, whatever the powers are fighting amongst themselves, why would any foreigner want to come and invest here? And after you do this horrible infighting and outfighting, after you finish, you think you can work together in a parliament? It's not going to happen. So I believe that the president, with all due respect, I don't have the right to call upon him. I don't even know him. But the president, it will be good for him to step out and talk to the nation that all the political parties, including his own, everybody should chill and campaign on the issues, not on personalities and not on insults.
I am grateful to you this evening, and Dr. Ishmael Norman actually heads a very relevant institution on security, and he's joining us this evening to put into perspective the current heightened tension in the country by the main political parties with accusations and counter-accusations on who ought to be invited by the police. 2 petitions, one from the MPP, the other from the NDC, already filed. Well, many thanks to you for joining us on tonight's edition of UPfront. My name is Raymond Acquah.